I don't know what's about to happen today, Dan, but what I do know is Chris is walking around in the room over there before the show starts talking about what a big fraud I am. And I don't know what that's about. And
Who's he telling that to?
He's like, oh, Zaslow, big fraud, big fraud. Like,
Phony baloney, I believe I said as well.
Wow.
Like, what are you talking about?
Whoa,
you know?
which is worse? Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Big fraud or phony baloney?
You know, you got something to say when you say it. So,
well,
I wanted to save it.
I guess now we're here, though.
Just mumbling phony.
I heard the word cuck, too, out there somewhere.
No.
I heard it.
Dan, months ago at this point, Zaslow made fun of me for going to Vegas to see the Backstreet Boys.
That's right. He went to Backstreet Boys and he took his wife all the way to Vegas for Backstreet Boys.
Remember what he said he's going to Vegas this weekend?
I'm going tomorrow night.
You know what he's doing there?
No.
New Kids on the Block.
What?
Phony baloney.
He has a friend on the band.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. You can't make
Same exact
You
thing.
can't
It's
make.
the same
You
thing.
can't. It is the same thing.
It is the same thing,
It's a worse
except
version of the
Backstreet
same thing.
Boys are better.
What?
You know what? Jeremy's got this right, actually. Not surprisingly, he knows the nuance between the boy bands, and
Of course I do.
And he's right. You're going to a rip-off version of that, or you're going at the
Right. New Kids were first.
They were first, but worse.
Don't
Yeah.
sell him short. There's a possibility here that he hits up his friend in New Kids for tickets to BSB at the Sphere too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely not going to see Backstreet Boys at the Sphere.
I don't believe you.
Everybody knows I cannot go to the Sphere because I have vertigo and I would get very sick during the show. So I cannot go to the Sphere, all right? So don't even worry.
Everybody
about
knows
us.
that?
Everyone knows.
Everybody
The
knows
Sphere
that.
is dangerous for you.
Yeah, because the visuals and the spinning.
Can you put me there? Like, what happens? You walk in and you're like, ah!
Well, I mean, I would just be in the middle of the show and I'd probably start puking. Like, it'd be bad.
Are you the person that those warnings on the on Netflix or the streamers where they say strobing lights and
Where I have, like, epilepsy?
Well, just I mean, I've never known
No.
who I don't know anybody who those warnings are for. I don't know anybody when they put this has smoking and also strobe lights that make people dizzy. I've never met anyone.
It's for people with epilepsy.
Yeah. Different things, epilepsy and vertigo. Dan.
Yeah, that's why they're called different things. 'cause they're
Thank you,
different.
but you're saying that the Sphere and the strobing lights are affecting your vertigo. I'm not making a big leap there, am I?
No, because it'll be motion sickness.
See, this is scaring me because I'm going to the Sphere for the first time the following weekend, like whatever the 20th or 21st, whenever that is. And I've never been before. My wife has been before, but I've never been. And now you're scaring me a little bit.
Who are you going to see?
Whoever's playing the next weekend.
You don't even know.
I think it's the Eagles, but I'm not sure. She told me.
Don Henley said this might be the last year that you can see the Eagles.
I know.
Oh, please.
That's why we're doing it.
But my friend is in New Kids on the Block. I'm going to see my friend perform.
Wait
Who
a
are you
minute.
friends with in
Wait a minute.
Backstreet?
You're a phony baloney.
Wait a minute. I don't want. He doesn't remember who he's going to see.
Wild.
I think it's the Eagles.
There
I'm
can't
not
be many
sure.
people going to the Sphere in a couple weeks who don't know who they're going to see.
I like the idea that he's on the plane for the 6-hour flight, and they're like, what are you going to do in Vegas? I don't know.
Oh,
Well,
Sphere.
at some point it'll come up on the flight. You know, a couple of cocktails in, I'll ask her, who are we seeing, by the way? Eagles? Yeah, that's what I thought. But it could be somebody else. I agreed to it, so it must be somebody I want to see.
I hope it's Backstreet.
No, it's not. It's not a boy band. It's an old man band.
We had the close when he said boy band.
Oh, okay.
Basketball is back, Jack. Time for our favorite winter sport. The summertime is over, so let's head down to the court. Time for the tip-off. Give me fast breaks on the attack. Will you shoot a three or take it to the rack? Basketball is back, Jack. It's a dream shake down in the post, or a killer cross you love the most. When the offense tries to run and gun, is it man to man or box and one? It's big plays and talking smack. That's how you know that basketball is back, Jack. Let me hear you say basketball. Basketball is back, Jack. 360 dunks and pick and roll. And we're gonna watch it every day till they raise the Larry O. Hard fouls and hook shots. A dagger three and hack a shack. If you say this game's the best, I'll say Zagak. Basketball is back.
nice. Sensabaugh. Mike Biamonte's got to go out better than this. Like, that's as bad. That is as bad a loss as I've ever seen them have last night. I'm not even kidding, even though they were only a 5.5-point favorite in that game. That Bam Adebayo quote, coming out of that mouth when that team's not good enough and he's the guy you need to beat Utah at home when Utah's trying to lose. You guys saw the Bam Adebayo quote, right? I mean, I've never seen that come out of a Heat mouth before, where he's saying we've got to find a way to win against the teams that are, I guess you can say, trying to lose. Utah benched its players in the fourth quarter. They just lost this way at Orlando, and when Ethan Skolnick asks Utah's coach, Will whatever his name is, when they ask him, hey, how tempted were you to put in Markkanen in the fourth quarter? Wasn't going to. Had no intention. Zaz accused people yesterday of point shaving and said they should be put in prison because of what Utah is doing. They tried to do it, and the Heat wouldn't allow them to murder themselves.
Made me look like a sucker last night. The
Like a
Jazz.
cuck.
Phony baloney.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Admit it.
So we'll get to the phony baloney controversy here because Zaslow is going to see a boy band in Vegas. I don't know if you guys have seen, like, Vegas is really hurting. This shouldn't surprise people given what's going on in the economy, but the Mirage is closed. Rio is about to close. A bunch of places are about to close because Vegas is really hurting.
I'm
and
about to give it a boost.
Zaz and Cody are headed the next couple of weeks to give it a boost. Zaz to see New Kids on the Block, and Cody to see Old Men on the Block, and he's not sure, though. He thinks it's the Eagles, but he's not totally positive.
Yeah, whoever's playing that weekend, I'm seeing.
I have
Just
here,
showing up.
Cody,
Whoever's playing tonight.
I'm doing a little bit of Dan Le Batard finds out here. I have a video that you don't know that we have, and I want an explanation for what it is that happened here in this video during your Super Bowl party.
How to get into that.
We are about to miss kickoff.
How do you get it over there? Close.
Greg Greg touched the remote, and now we're going to miss kickoff.
My wife's panicking. Another crisis solved. Another crisis solved. Will it make the top 10 on the catchphrase countdown? Another crisis solved.
I want to wipe that camera there, Greg.
Little plug for the countdown. He's like, will that be on Greg Cody's catchphrases?
And mixing of water.
Why does that living room look jaundiced? That living room looks like out of 1970s Jacksonville. Is it the paint on the wall? It's not.
Maybe the camera.
Why is it a bad shot?
Well, what happened?
What's going on?
First of all, what happened? Because you said, look at my wife panicking as you're standing nearby doing nothing. All you've done is harm and then took credit and turned and swung and did a promo. The best television I've seen since Tony marveled at Jason Garrett turning to a camera with
goat.
one gleaming tooth and smiling at a camera.
I'm telling you, this is seconds before kickoff, and he touches the remote, and all of a sudden we can't get it off the screen, and my mom and my brother have to come running in.
Well, I normally don't touch a remote.
Right, and you did it right before
The
halftime.
only reason I did it was the volume thing. We had it at like 99 or 100. It was like blaring, and I was about to make an announcement to hold the commercials sacrosanct and shut up when the commercials come on.
That did nothing because I didn't hear a single commercial.
That's a good announcement, though. It's
Thank
important.
you. Yeah, it is
He
important.
did it during a commercial, by the way, that announcement.
You know, you got to do it sometime.
Zaz, why are you looking at Cody this way?
I don't. Why don't you know how to use the equipment in your home?
My wife always handles the wand.
The wand.
Yeah.
Yo.
Whoa, that's a
Baby!
That's a T-shirt. Valentine's Day is coming up. We have our resident love expert, Greg Cody, and we have an assortment of questions for him. My wife always handles the wand.
See what you did, Zaz? That's on you, by the way.
It is. You're a phony baloney. It's been proven. now.
I don't know why I'm a phony baloney.
Tony, would you like to explain to him how it is and why it is that he's a phony baloney?
You made fun of Chris
Yeah.
for doing something.
Right.
Now you're going to do the same thing, but older and worse, making you a phony baloney.
Phony
Okay,
baloney.
I'm going to the original. I'm going to the OG New Kids on the Block, all right? There would not even be a Backstreet Boys, or NSYNC for that matter, if there wasn't a New Kids on the Block.
this argument.
So let's make sure we get that straight, all right? And number two, and more importantly, one of the guys in the group is my friend. I'm going to see my friend perform.
A friend.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Huge fan of this show. Watches every day.
Friendly.
Watches every day.
No, if he watches every day and he sees Zaz on the show, they'll become friends inside of that.
No, we are friends. We've been friends for over like 10 plus years.
Yeah, sure.
Is he going to bring you on stage?
No, but we'll be sitting right next to Steve.
Get invited to his birthday party?
Uh,
Not a friend.
I don't think so.
Is that the rule? How are you guys
Birthday
doing
party,
this?
like he's old. Birthday party.
He's a new
grown
he's
man.
no longer a new. He's a new kid. I thought he was a new kid on the block.
I'm just saying he must have had a 50th recently, a 40th.
So, but is that the way you're doing friendship? Did they invite
I mean, if I have
you
a
to their
50th birthday party, I
birthday?
don't invite you. You're not my friend. Like, right? I mean, like,
All right, put it on the
He's got
poll
to
at Le Batard Show. If you're not invited to that guy's 50-year-old birthday party, are you his friend? Go ahead.
who would answer yes to that?
So I want to get to this Heat story because and there is, I believe, a tournament team in town. The University of Miami plays a giant game, the biggest of the year, tonight at home against North Carolina. North Carolina is a big letdown spot for North Carolina. This is exactly where you want to play them, where they just won a buzzer beater against Duke, and they've had 2 court stormings, and now they're going on the.
Embarrass themselves.
They embarrassed themselves with 2 court stormings.
Yeah.
Violence ensued.
Caleb Wilson is a problem. I don't believe the Miami Hurricanes have a player as good as he is. That's no slight on the Miami Hurricanes. He's one of the best players in the country, and that's a giant game. The student section is going to be full tonight. They're honoring the UM football team as well, so it'll be the best crowd of the season as well. The best crowd these players have ever played in front of, correct? Like best
Yeah, it's a
home
whole new
crowd.
team. It's a whole new team, whole new staff. There isn't a holdover from last year. So, yeah, definitely. And it's at finally a convenient time. These game times have been weird. You know, putting Cal and Stanford in the ACC has really mucked things up.
What time is tonight?
Tonight's 7 o'clock tip. You know, it's better than the 9 o'clock weeknight tip that we had against Stanford. That point guard's very good, by the way.
So they lose at Cal the day I said they were a tournament team. They lost as an 11.5-point favorite. Beat BC, haven't played a whole lot of good teams. Mike's still questioning whether they're a tournament team, and Joe Lunardi is saying they're a 10 seed. They're one of the they've got the kind of record you want to have, but now begins the difficult part of the schedule and when you're going to test yourself against the Boozers, or Cam Boozer, I guess, because his brother's not playing as much.
Yeah, he's not that good.
Yeah, but Cam is amazing.
Yes, Cam is amazing.
Yeah, if Miami wins this game, they are pretty entrenched unless they fall off like this last
But this
quarter
is a
of the
tough.
season.
This is a tough 10 days they've got. This is the toughest stretch of their schedule with opponents and everyone else. And if they're going to be a tournament team, it will reveal itself right now.
Drew Henderson's coming back tonight. Great defender. This is the type of team that you don't want to face when you have the emotional highs, the court storming against your biggest rival in Duke. You hop on a plane a couple days later and you play a tough as nails defensive team. The type of team that Jay Lucas has built down here is not fun to play on any night, especially when you're kind of feeling yourself.
So a big festive crowd is what it is that's being expected tonight there. It would be the opposite of what I imagine was at that Heat game last night, because can you guys tell me how many road wins Utah has? I know Sacramento had 3, Washington had 5, and these teams just can't win on the road. These truly terrible teams can't win on the road. And the circumstances that you had last night is Utah, the stat from Amin is amazing, okay? 3 years ago, worst defense in league history, topped 2 years ago by them having the worst defense in league history, topped this year by this being the worst defensive team in the league.
Last night was their 7th road win.
They sit their starters. They sit their starters in the fourth quarter. Their coach is not trying to win. Like they're actively Sacramento and Washington are trying. Like they're trying to win. Utah's not trying to win. They're the only team in the league, the only one that you could point to and say they're doing this. They're in the fourth quarter when they have a lead, they sit their best guy.
Yeah, that was obvious tanking. Now, Bam didn't use the word tanking. He said trying to lose. Same thing. What interests me about that is that that's usually unspoken among players. Players very rarely say tanking out loud. That's a media thing, but coaches and players hardly say it. That's an Adam Silver problem, though, because when you do what they did in the fourth quarter,
fix it.
It's so blatant. So blatant.
He'll fix it. He'll get to the bottom of it. Sewing needle.
Would you rather be Utah or Miami?
It's amazing.
That starting 5, I mean,
It's
I kind of
incredible.
if they're fully healthy, the Jazz starting 5 is
No, next year they'll
Well,
be
they've
fun.
got so many picks.
You see, Utah had a vision, and they stuck to it.
Yep, lose for a decade.
And now they're well positioned.
Cannot
just
imagine.
like the current NBA champion. How did they get good?
By being terrible for a
Miami
really long
just
time.
held still.
You're gonna have so much fun
and
with
what
that.
happened after? I don't even know how you show your face around here, given what we've seen out of
Jack
Miami.
shit over there.
The
How do you
Super
show
Bowl.
your
I don't know what you're
face?
talking about.
The
Jack
Super
shit.
Bowl
It's P's
meant
and C's, bro.
the Super Bowl meant we didn't even have to talk about the Miami Heat blowing a 20-point lead against Boston.
Well,
P's and C's day.
here's the thing, though. They've lost. They've blown 32 double-digit leads since the last, since last season, and it's the most in the sport. Is there any reporting being done about Norman Powell and the personal issues? Because while I respect all of this,
He had a child.
No, he came back though, and then he got hurt. Like the personal
he's
issues are done.
had back tightness for
Yeah.
a couple of weeks here. He needs the All-Star break. He hurt his hand. I wouldn't be shocked if he also missed Wednesday's game. He might play because they'd like to end the first half on a good note, but he was out yesterday because it's the second night of back-to-backs, 3 out of the 4 last nights.
All right, so Norm Powell is out. Tyler Hero is out.
Oh, Hero's out? Whoa.
You're going to have
Pelle
trouble
Larson as well.
with size. Like, that's what happened. You had trouble with size. Khalil Ware had to play a bunch, and they don't want to play him a bunch. And he had to play a bunch. And they had a size advantage where Spo's like, I don't know what to do with their size advantage. Like, Spo rarely.
Yeah, I seen Markin putting the three. He's 7 feet tall.
But you understand, though, that Spo, doesn't usually go, But in the reason that Zaz will not get any traction on wanting to jail everyone in the Utah organization for point shaving is because the players they do play are trying to win. Bryce Sensabaugh is trying to win. Do you or do you not have to do better for Mike Biamonte? He's gone from Luol Deng to Bryce Sensabaugh. That's
The rough look.
That's not the way for him to retire.
No. Luol Deng is perfect. You don't get any better than that. Luol Deng.
You know, like John Conchar?
They told Barry Jackson that they felt like they had a team that could make some noise in the playoffs.
Fart noise.
Everybody thought so the first month of the season. They were like the darling of the league.
Oh, Jeremy was excited.
14-7
points a game.
You know, the Marlins signed Chris Paddock to a 1-year,
This
$4
coward.
million deal
What a coward
yesterday.
is.
He's basically their Cal Quantrill of this year. He's there to eat up innings. He'll compete for a rotation
Man,
spot. But Braxton Garrett and Max Meyer are both back.
Your hat's patronizing. I mean, after that Heat game last night, you come in here wearing the old school Marlins hat. Look at me. I put on a Miami Heat jacket.
That's right.
Here.
Well,
Represent.
I mean, the Marlins, it's P's and C's today. And they have the teal uniforms coming back. That's why you wear the old school Marlins. They have teal uniforms. You know they've never worn those teal uniforms? You know they've never worn teal uniforms in a game before. Only in spring training and batting practice. So these teal uniforms, it's a debut. How about that?
Well, wait a minute. No, that was what it.
Nope.
That
Never
wasn't
worn
their-
that jersey in a regular season game ever in the history of the franchise.
Those uniforms are the ones that I thought they played with in 1993.
Mandela effect.
No.
Batting practice and spring training.
Yeah, I think those
Yep.
are spring training jerseys.
Well,
they look
the
good, though.
crowds,
The Berenstain
crowds that
Bears.
will show up to see those new uniforms, the crowds that will show, they're going to fill that stadium because of the uniform gimmick.
I got excited there because that dugout in that photo is clearly the old Pro Player Stadium dugout. They clearly just recreated it, but I would love them to turn their current dugout because it just brings me. I would love to go back to Pro Player Stadium. Can
They're
I
doing
say
good
that?
things with the brand here.
Man, I miss that stadium. That just brings me back
What?
to my high school years.
What?
I know it was empty. Trust me. I know it was sad.
Nobody says that.
I'm telling you, but you bring me back to my junior year.
David Sampson
going
got-
to every game.
I'm
David
with him.
Sampson built that stadium
Bring me back to
on
that.
Calle Ocho as a modern new stadium.
It stinks. It's a bad ballpark.
I snuck in a 12-pack of long neck beers into Joe Robbie for a Marlins game one time.
Oh, yeah.
Fish
Really?
tank
Nice.
seats.
I got caught.
The Peanuts,
Cody's crew.
the Peanuts guy with the glasses on.
The Publix Power Alley.
I wore long cargo pants, so it had lots of pockets. And I put like several long necks in each pocket. So I'm like waddling into the stadium when I get my ticket, don't want them to clank or break in my pockets. We made it to our seats. We made it to our seats with the 12-pack of beers, take them all out. We're drinking. By like the third inning, the usher comes down, notices we're drinking long necks. All right. They don't sell long necks.
As a criminal, that's a pretty amateur move. You were looking pretty good with the cargo pants, and you got through because all of security is bored there because they got 7
Right.
people coming through, so security's not paying attention.
Well, we used to sit in a section where there was never an usher either.
You were about to save $100. All
Yeah.
you had to do was be a less sloppy criminal. You can't drink a beer that's clearly not sold there.
We're pounding long necks, which they very obviously do not sell at the stadium. She comes and she confiscates it from me.
Why wouldn't you just buy a couple of cups?
Cans.
And
maybe.
she's like, is this it? Like, no, we got more. And then I reached under the seat, and she's now walking up the stairs holding like 6 beers. Everyone was laughing.
What a waste of beer.
What a ballpark.
That left field scoreboard.
I can't believe what you guys are saying right now out loud to an audience that's listening.
I said it the very first game at that monstrosity in Little Havana. It's a bad ballpark. It's never been good. It made me miss a football stadium without a roof at the time.
Nobody liked that place because of the rainouts. So you'd have 5-hour games.
Oh, the rainouts were great. You just go into the concourse.
So hot.
Yeah, but man, it felt like baseball. That's the nostalgia. That's what's missing, and I'm glad that they're bringing back the teal uniforms because there is zero connection to whatever team that ballpark houses. They have totally different uniforms. They don't let any players stick around long enough for you to actually grow attached to them. The only connection point that Marlins fans have to that team, they don't even have the same name.
Would you be in favor of them changing it back to Florida Marlins?
Yes, I'd be. Make them teal, make them the Florida Marlins. Let me get some kind of nostalgia connection to this team. And it does feel different when I see them wearing that. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I don't have any kind of connection to the new stuff.
There is a reason why they have specifically Marlins on the front there and not Miami. And it is to tie it back to the nostalgia that you're used to of seeing Marlins. And that's been the name the whole way through, whether it's Florida Marlins, whether it's Miami Marlins. They're the Marlins franchise. And bringing back the teal, they are trying to sort of harken back to their history. They had the Marlins Legends Hall of Fame open last year. This year, it's D-Train and Beckett being added to play to that 2003.
Leland last year. Remember, it was about 100 people in this.
See, this is the problem with the Marlins, though. They're using the past as a crutch. The Dolphins do the same thing a little bit. Miami supports winners. If you're the Marlins, the teal uniforms are nice. They're going to please a lot of kids who go to the game. Maybe
no, it's pleasing our age.
It's pleasing the people who buy
guys.
Tickets.
Eye on the ball, okay? You let Jeremy do what you didn't want to let him do. He went to Marlins and you stayed here because he hypnotized you with the throwback
teal
uniforms.
Sure
Eye
did.
on the ball, okay?
It's opening weekend at Marklight Stadium this weekend.
In summary, the Marlins use a crutch of the past instead of spending money now to create a winning
What did the
team.
Yankees do, Greg? Did they sign anybody big this
Canes
season, or are they relying on a team that hasn't won a World Series since 2009?
The Yankees win.
The Canes
win what?
1.5 favorite tonight against North Carolina. And it's the crowd. I didn't understand what was happening with the point spread last night in Utah and the Heat, right? Everything I just told you. Historically bad defensive team not playing its starters late. Like that combination of things, you ought to score 140 points on that team. Like that's what should happen. And the point spread kept dropping. It was Utah underdog by 7, 6, 5.5. And I'm like, what do they know? Who knows what here about Utah's size advantage? Wasn't Utah also on a back-to-back? Didn't they just do this the previous night in Orlando?
Saturday night.
It was Saturday night?
And the Heat were on a back-to-back, and they had no Norman Powell or Pella Larson, which meant they started Davion Mitchell alongside Simone Fontecchio,
Jeremy,
Khalil
they played
Ware,
the Wizards.
Myron Gardner.
That was an AAU team.
And Bam Adebayo.
I told my son to lay the 6.5.
My fault. The Canes are a 1.5-point dog, not a 1.5
live dog
favorite.
Yeah, that's basically a pick 'em. Let's go.
Pick 'em
Let's
game.
go. Canes.
The Canes are more desperate. Haven't they lost like 3 out of 5? I mean, they're struggling to make the big tournament.
They have not. No, wait a minute. They're not struggling. Aren't they 19? What are they? 19-5?
I guess dating back to the FSU loss, this is their worst stretch. It's weird.
Yeah, they lost 2 out of 5.
Yeah, they'll go up to Syracuse, win that game, then struggle against Cal.
Carmelo's kid doesn't play defense either.
No. The Stanford game was a random rock fight. They're not playing in these games the way that you would think a 10 seed would play. Much like the Heat, their best form was at the start of the season.
Win this game tonight for the Canes, though, and all that conversation goes away.
Huge for your season. Huge for your program.
Well, you announce yourself, right? Because people they
got
were
some recruits in town too.
They were before losing to FSU. They got ranked, did they not? Did they not
They
end
were
up
right there? No.
Okay, like Brandon Marshall was right there, just right. They were right there, but they weren't quite ranked.
That was a crime. Because when they were I think 15,
crime? like point shaving, like Utah needs to be in prison for a crime.
At one point, the Canes were 15-2. Their only 2 losses were to top 10 teams, and yet they weren't ranked. I thought they should have been ranked then. Now, they wouldn't be ranked now because they're on a little bit of a skid.
Yeah, but compared to college football, like the rankings obviously in season means something in college football. It really doesn't mean anything in college basketball. Right. Like just keep winning games.
Oh, but no, what it does sort of mean though is when your name is in there and then you win a game like tonight's, right? Tonight's is the one everyone's going to be watching. North Carolina brings that with them. North Carolina coming off of, hey, so John Shire, again, Duke's lying. Duke, there was no staffer punch in the court storm. This is the second time Duke claims that their people are punched and injured during stuff, and there's never any video, even though every kid in Cameron Indoor has or actually it's not Cameron Indoor. Every kid has a camera, and there's no video of this?
Yeah, the story changed, too. We stopped being punched in the face, then we got trampled. There's no video of a trampling either.
Aren't we still waiting for video of Kyle Filipowski getting hit as well?
Beginning to think
Did he break his leg? Didn't they say he hurt his leg or something? That the court storming injured his leg?
Yeah. There was actually at least video of that one. Beginning to think Duke exaggerates when they lose these games to North Carolina. Also, John Shire, beta.
While we're talking college basketball, can we talk about Syracuse basketball player Donnie Freeman uncrusting and uncrustable? This is just monster behavior. He's eating it uncrustable.
You should.
It doesn't have a
folks.
crust, and he's peeling the crust off of
Wow.
it. And it's just I needed an explanation because that little crust part of the uncrustable
It's false
is
advertising. You're not okay. You need an explanation. Well, do you understand people who pull the crust off their pizza?
But there's a crust to be pulled. Yeah. Here, there is no crust to be. Dan, have you ever seen an Uncrustable before?
Yes.
The whole thing is that they don't have a crust.
No, I have not.
I actually like the little pinched part of the Uncrustable. It's like my favorite part of the Uncrustable, and you're choosing to take the delightful part of the Uncrustable and just turn it into a PB&J.
Hold on a second. Dan, I know people who don't eat the crust on pizza. You know people who pull off the crust on the pizza?
The top of the crust. That they don't like the bready crust that doesn't have the cheese on it. Not the entirety of the crust.
Right, but they pull it off and then they just hold the other part and eat the other part?
That's barbaric.
No, you've never seen a pizza box filled with crust because people do that?
They eat it after.
Right.
They eat the whole pizza and then you leave it.
And then you leave the crust.
A good piece of pizza.
Why are they ganging up on us? This is our experience.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you trust people, or how should I phrase this? Because you're saying people don't do it, and I'm saying I do know people who do not eat the top end of crust of pizza.
No, that's not what you said, though. That's not what
do
you
they rip it off before they eat the regular slice?
They're attacking us.
That's crazy behavior.
You have serial killer friends.
Yeah, I've never seen that in my life.
You're telling me there are people who have a slice of pizza, and before they take a bite, they rip off the crust?
Yes, guys. Again, what do you mean? You're saying no, but you're talking about the piece of the pizza that doesn't have cheese. They don't want just bread. They want...
That's right.
But Dan, you're 99% of what people do is you have a slice, you're holding the crust.
Right.
You eat the crust, the pizza, up until the crust, then you just
You
put
need
that
it to
crust.
hold
That's
the
right.
slice.
Most people just don't eat the crust. I haven't seen a lot of people before the
Dan
slice
has
is
friends
eaten.
who rip it off.
Like
Stand your ground. This is ridiculous.
And so then they're just holding with the cheese and the sauce in their
insane.
fingers?
Only crazy people. Serial killers.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I eat the crust last.
Switching gears.
What do you mean, Denny Hamlin? Again,
Daytona.
I'm asking you to make that my voice and don't try and sneak in your things in my subconscious, your topics. I don't want to talk about Denny Hamlin anymore. It makes me sad.
Got them off the crust thing.
At Le Batard Show, do you trust people who do not eat? What is that called? Because the whole thing is the crust, right? Is it not the whole? Is the whole? Is
Have
the,
you
ever
had
eaten
pizza in your life?
All right, I'm on their side.
What is the base? What is the,
This is stubborn even for you.
what is the base of the pizza
It's called
called?
the undercarriage.
Oh, the undercarriage.
Nobody calls
No,
it
you
that.
need a good undercarriage. When you look at a pie, you're like,
That's
how's
not.
the undercarriage?
That's not also the crust.
It technically
No,
is.
undercarriage
No,
has been
it's
popularized.
baked dough. That's what a pizza bottom is.
But
baked
nobody
dough.
calls it the.
No,
Look,
it has been. Dave Portnoy has popularized the term undercarriage.
You
with
lift
his
it up.
pizza
What's the
reviews.
undercarriage like?
Yeah, right.
Dave Portnoy's popularized the
Pizza.
term
Yes.
undercarriage.
Yeah, it's a.
Say what
yeah.
you want about him.
He's
The
seen a
guy's-
pizza
Are you
before.
trying to
At least he's
deny
eaten pizza before.
Are you trying to deny Dave Portnoy's monopoly over pizza reviews? Are you trying to deny him that? Look, you can deny him plenty. He's on the pizza game.
I'm not denying that.
One bite.
I am denying that he's popular. All right, put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Has Dave Portnoy made you call the bottom half of a pizza the undercarriage? Just put it up that way because you guys are saying he's popularized it. I didn't know that it was called the undercarriage. I don't know what to call it.
Have you ever had pizza before?
I can't believe you know people, or at least you're claiming to know people, who rip off the crust of a
Why
slice
would
of
I
pizza.
be asking myself, have I ever had pizza before?
Man,
No.
I'm confused on this
okay,
one.
then speak in your normal voice and stop speaking in that one. As my inner monologue, I need you to stay in character. If you're going to attack my vulnerabilities from in there, stop being yourself and stay in character.
Holding the cheese and the tomato sauce with their fingers?
It's impossible almost to rip off the crust. You almost have to cut it with scissors or use a knife because the crust is attached to the rest of the pie, the rest of the
Then he
slice.
called under the pizza crust, just a rough look.
Speaking to the mic.
Speak into the mic. Roy is asking you to speak into the mic.
I'm right here. I'm here. The mic's here.
Are you guys worried? I don't know if you're made sad. Obviously, Vegas is something that is almost always exciting as you're taking off for Vegas, and then there's great regret on your flight home, especially if it's a red eye. But I did not know until recently that the Mirage, one of the giants out there, is done. The Rio is smaller, off the strip, done. Like, there are problems in Vegas now because it's being affected, obviously, by a lack of disposable income in the economy in ways that are startling. And you guys are headed there. You're headed there for a romantic weekend. This is you.
Phony baloney.
This is you being romantic, taking your wife of how many years?
Oh, boy.
Quicker than that.
Oh, no.
Quicker than that.
Oh, no.
Oh, why can't I think
Quicker
about it
than
for a
that.
second?
Oh, my God, Tamara.
I'm not allowed to think of it for a
sorry.
second. This year will be 19. I can't think about it. Do some quick math.
Kick, save, and a butte.
Oh, my God. Why does everything have to be a tip of my tongue?
Did you just say the tip of my tongue?
Ta-ta.
I like that character better. That character needs to speak more. The other one needs to speak less.
How do you know the parlor doesn't sell them?
The tip of your tongue is what you were saying?
Yeah.
You don't have to have everything on the tip of your tongue, but you're meant to do a romantic weekend. That's what you're aspiring to do.
We're going
here.
to Valentine's, New Kids on the Block. My wife's never been to Vegas. It's all going to be very exciting.
Cody, want to quiz you. What is Zaz saying here?
How do you know the parlor doesn't sell them?
How do you know the parlor isn't seldom?
The end is where you got tricked.
How do you know the parlor doesn't sell them?
That's what it sounds like to me.
The end of that is so much clearer than the beginning of that.
Say it one more time.
You got the hard part right.
I don't know how you got the part right. That's not decipherable.
How do you know the parlor doesn't sell them?
This is good. Attack.
I heard seldom.
This was in reference yesterday to Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick's girlfriend, wearing the shirt that she wore to North Carolina Duke that makes fun of Bob Kraft and the name of the salon that he was caught sex trafficking in. So it wouldn't be the parlor seldoming them. It would be, how do you know the parlor doesn't sell them?
How do you know the parlor doesn't sell them?
Yeah, now that you say it, I can hear.
But the how do you was the hardest part for us.
All right, so finally, I'm going to surprise all you guys, Cody, most of all right now, because we were making fun of how do you not remember Bill Polian, whether you voted for Bill Belichick or not. And I was making the argument, well, in your 80s, that's something that you can be forgetful about. And then we did a failed quiz with Greg Cody where he voted for his Hall of Famers, and he's had trouble with his memory just today, right? Because he didn't remember that he's going to see the Eagles in Vegas. His wife told him, but he doesn't remember who he's seeing. So, Greg Cody, you're scared of what I'm about to do right now, right? Who did you vote for the Hall of Fame 2 weeks ago when we did that quiz with you here? Do you remember who you voted for? Because you voted for 4 people, and that laughter suggests that he's cornered.
Yeah, I'm stalling right now.
Do you remember which sport you voted on?
Well, I'm a baseball Hall of Fame voter. I don't. I would remember whether or not I voted for a specific player, which is why when you ask somebody, did you vote for Belichick or not?
Who'd you vote for? Who'd you vote for?
Ask me if I voted for a specific player. That's the issue here.
You can't get a one of them?
Because Tony Dungy was asked if he voted for Belichick, and he refused to answer. If you ask me whether I voted for Jack Flackman for the Hall of Fame, I'll tell you whether or not I did.
Greg.
I will take a quiz.
Greg, you're trapped, right? You cannot remember you voted 2 weeks ago for 4 people. We did a big show of it publicly.
It was actually about it was just before Christmas. It was probably 7 or 8 weeks ago that I actually voted.
No, but I'm not asking you who you voted on your actual ballot. I'm asking you for who you voted on in that quiz we had you take 2 weeks ago.
We handed you
You
the
don't
ballot,
remember
the
either
football
of them?
ballot.
Wait a minute. You don't remember either of them? You don't remember who you voted for the actual Hall of Fame, and you don't also remember in the
tell
quiz.
me a player, I'll tell you if I voted for him.
Not how this works.
100%.
Greg, do you
and I will guarantee my answer.
Greg, do you remember playing this game with us 2 weeks ago?
Okay, I voted for Andrew Jones.
Yes, in December, you voted for Andrew Jones. We had you take a hypothetical test that wasn't actually an accurate
With
appraisal.
football, Greg.
It was a football Hall of Fame. It wasn't a baseball Hall of Fame.
Do you not even remember that we had you vote for the
thing.
football one?
Okay, that thing.
Oh, my God. This is unbelievable. You ripped Bill Polian. You said Bill Polian, and I was like 81 years old. That's tough to remember
because Bill
stuff.
Polian was asked, did you vote for whoever, Belichick?
So you think
Kraft,
that you
and
think
he didn't know.
you think you'd get it right if I gave you guys give me please because I don't remember, but please give me who the names were that we put in front of him because he only selected 4 of them, and I'm going to ask him right now. I'll ask him.
Okay, Larry Fitzgerald, Drew Brees. Those were the 2 obvious ones, and then there were 2 borderline guys. I don't think I voted for Adam Vinatieri, even though he made the Hall. And I did not vote for Roger Craig, and he made the Hall.
I'm not actually even sure you're doing this correctly. We'll get an accurate appraisal of this in a second. Are any of you put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show? Do you live in a sane world when Luke Kuechly gets in faster than Bill Belichick?
Embarrassing.
What's going on behind the scenes with this stuff? This is so dumb. There's so many like puppet strings being pulled, and no one wants to come out and say like, "No, I'm the person behind this." Go ahead, Mike. Those are 2 bona fide Hall of Famers. Kraft has been on the ballot for like 14 years. I don't know how much better of an owner you have to be in that sport. What marks success? What your team's value is and how many championships you've won. He's been in the conversation my entire adult life. I don't understand how he's not a Hall of Fame owner. If an owner can make the Hall of Fame, it looks like Robert Kraft. And the head coach, forget it. It's the greatest head coach of our lives.
Mike, to be honest, it's making me not even care about the Hall of Fame anymore.
It's a joke.
It's a dog and pony show. It's like, oh, is he going to get in? No, okay, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Like, he's obviously the greatest coach of all time. I don't really care about it anymore.
What's with this? Like, I didn't vote for him because I thought he was going to get in. Vote for the people that deserve to go in. Don't be like that other person's got it. This is the most. It makes the entire thing look like a joke.
Greg, I have the full list of names that were available to you to vote for.
Hold on to that for a second. Tony, you Dog and Pony Show, you have referenced a great many times.
There's been a lot of them.
I still don't have an answer for when the Dog and Pony Show went out of business because I don't think that that's a business.
It hasn't gone out of business. Clearly with Giannis and with this whole Hall of Fame thing, a lot of Dog and Pony Shows all over the place.
There has to be an extinction date on the Dog and Pony Show because there are no more.
Bet it on Kalshi.
There are no traveling circuses anymore. We will get to that list in a second. I have in front of me the 4 people that you voted for, but I'd like Jeremy, tell me privately so that I can quiz him on this because I'd like to play this game with him to see if he can actually remember who it is.
I already said 2 of them.
You did say 2 of them, but you can't remember the other 2, and I want to see if I can get you with any of the others that. Well, I don't know why you would be this confident, like. I don't know why you would lean in your chair that way as if you've got this when you didn't even remember the sport we were talking about. You didn't remember the quiz. You didn't remember much of anything.
It's not about remembering. It's about I thought we were talking about baseball. Brees and Fitzgerald were the 2 automatic picks. The others were controversial. I don't think I voted for Luke Kuechly, to be honest with you.
All right, forgive me here because I'm delayed in this. Zaslow, you owe $50, okay? And Money Lion has brought back the fine bucket. Our thanks to Money Lion, banking, lending, investment. Help yourself to Money Lion because they are now sponsoring the fine bucket. And Zaslow got hit with the biggest fine that there is, $50, because he killed David Baker, the retired Hall of Fame inductor, who who wanders the earth. No, not R.I.P. He's still alive. He's not dead.
You guys didn't even know who he was. I should get credit for knowing who he is.
This is a masterclass from us.
I do know who he is. I do know who David Baker is, and you owe $50 because you killed him. You said he was dead, and he's not dead.
Where do I got to give the money?
I got to get an actual physical fine bucket now. You got is that 100 behind your ear?
Yes, this is where I keep my money. I keep it in my ear.
No one's thinking about the pizza anymore.
Seven.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Greg Cody, when we quizzed you 2 weeks ago, wondering if someone 10 years younger than Bill Polian would have the memory 2 weeks later to remember who it is that he voted for, did you or did you not vote for Reggie Wayne?
You had to start off with a tough one, didn't you? Damn it. Probably because I'm a homer, yes, but I don't think I did.
And that's exactly the Polian quote that he gave when Don Van Natta called him, because you did not vote for Reggie Wayne.
See?
You can't.
My final answer was I don't think I did.
Yeah, but you can't really remember. You're not sure. Eli Manning. Did you vote for Eli Manning?
Hell no.
Hell no?
No.
Did you vote for George Seifert?
No.
Did you vote for Mike Shanahan?
No. I am nailing this.
Reggie Wayne is not nailing it.
The last thing I said was I don't think I did.
Did you vote for Torrey Holt?
Close call. No.
Wow.
Did you vote for Luke Kuechly?
No.
Did you vote for Chuck Knox?
No. Dan is withering because I'm nailing this.
What's your problem with Shanahan?
Chuck Knox.
Did you vote for Jason Witten?
No.
Did you vote for Frank Gore?
Yes. As everyone should have. He's the third all-time leading rusher. How can you not vote for Frank Gore? That's why I hate voting panels other than the baseball writers. But when you fill out your ballot, the baseball ballot, there's a check mark. I make my ballot public. Of course, I check it all the time. There should be complete transparency. We should know exactly who did and didn't vote for Belichick. Complete transparency across all halls of fame. That's what I'm calling for.
Do you know who you voted for in baseball this year?
My ballot 7 weeks ago?
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, I would if you give me the same, did you vote for him or not, I would tell you, of course. Yes, I'll take that quiz.
But you can't remember. You'll take the quiz, but you can't remember.
I remember several of the names I voted for. I mean, I don't remember all of them. I think I voted for 7.
This is a good game, interrogating and badgering an old person. Like I like this game.
Ageism. It's ageism.
Did you or did you not vote for Bobby Abreu?
No. It can't be.
Stumped him on the first one.
That's a close vote. 'Cause I remember going back. I remember going back and forth on him.
Yeah, you asked me about that one, I think.
I'm pretty sure I did, but I'm not positive.
Wow.
Final answer?
I thought he was a very close vote.
You did
Okay.
not vote for
Okay.
He's right there.
So I was correct then.
No, you.
Nope.
That is what it's being
I said
married
it was a
to.
very close call, but I don't think I did.
All right, let's move on.
You said, quote, I'm pretty sure I
Yeah,
did,
did
but
the
I'm not
opposite.
positive.
Well, I was misquoted.
Can I ask him one more?
It's like Charles Barkley claiming to be misquoted in his autobiography. He did. Charles Barkley actually claimed that he was misquoted in something that was an autobiography.
Did you or did you not vote for Felix Hernandez?
I did not.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Did you or did you not vote for Carlos Beltran?
Absolutely yes.
That is correct.
Okay.
You should have quit while you were ahead, Sass. I don't know
Seriously.
why you
Yeah, you
didn't.
said one more.
I don't really know why you decided to keep doing that. We got the payoff that we needed.
I love the that is correct, though. When he says that is correct, it just warms my
Well, that's
cockles.
some of your favorite words, sir. You were right about that. But you never admit you're wrong about that. Like
I
getting.
admit when I'm wrong all the time.
Oh, no, you do not. That's not.
I'm famous for admitting when
All
I'm
right,
wrong.
can you call your mother, please? I'd like to talk to her, and just put down famous for okay. Does Greg admit when he's wrong? Because I think old people keep getting more and more stubborn. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show, and this is what's happening with the Miami Heat.
I do not want to call my mom today because someone's going to ask her about the wand.
Yeah, you got to do that for the show.
Do you always handle the wand?
We're making Valentine's Day shirts. Angel's already been summoned. We're putting into rush supply right now, and for Valentine's Day, my wife always handles the wand. Is among the funniest things ever said inadvertently on this show.
Also, is Jim Thome ginger or just white?
He's not pure.
Really?
He's in the Sam Darnold category. Although we had the up yesterday, I did notice after the show
arms.
Sam Darnold's arms. But his hair is just clearly not a full ginger. But his arms bring him closer to pure than I gave him credit for.
So it's not skin tone; it's freckles.
It's more freckles. I just got to see your hands. I got to see if the freckles go to the hands. And it's the beard, and then the top, like because a lot of people got the red beard. It's really what it looks like when
Chris,
you take the hat
what
off.
is just? I don't know what you're doing here. Okay, you claimed yourself an authority yesterday. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you have to see the ginger's hands to see if the ginger is indeed a true and authentic ginger?
It's part of it. Cuticles. They give the game away.
Okay, but what is the feature above all others? Because you dismissed Sam Darnold as a ginger yesterday, and then you saw his arms, and you didn't even inspect his cuticles. So what is the thing on the body? Because I thought it was the red. Forgive me, I thought it was the red.
You're an amateur.
Okay, that's what you say, but you say you're an expert, and you didn't check Darnold's arms, and he's the Super Bowl champion, and you failed.
It's pretty easy to follow. I think his criteria is pretty well established.
It's your freckle per capita. It's your beard.
The pale skin.
Cuticles are part of it.
But what's the order of those things? Because you dismissed Darnold, and he's paler than Andy Dalton. Yes, you gave me that.
Doesn't seem like there's like a tier. Like it's a combination. It's an amalgamation of all those.
Got to have 3 out of the 4.
Ginger porn. You're looking at the hands. Okay.
I don't watch ginger porn. No one gingers don't watch ginger porn. Some people have redheads as a thing for them, not for me.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do gingers watch ginger porn?
Self-loathing thing, you don't want to see it.
I've never you think I've hooked up with a ginger? Get out of here. Well, that would be
Sean Penn in one battle after
2 gingers hooking up would just be that for me. That'd be an eyesore. I'd be like, what are we doing here?
Is it more ginger?
Ginger girls. I love them.
So wait a minute. Are you claiming that Andy Dalton might have had parents who were both gingers?
That can't be. You've never seen a ginger with a ginger. They just don't date. I'm telling you. It's just.
Wait, you guys talk about this?
No, I'm with him. It's too much.
Have you ever seen a just 2 gingers holding hands walking down the street?
It's like crossing the streams.
Not in Miami.
Crossing the
Tell you that.
Put it on the poll. Would you be scared if you saw 2 gingers holding hands crossing the street? I don't know what we're doing there, but you're claiming, just to be clear, the most authentic and originals of the gingers would be if you had 2 ginger parents, correct? And then you would look at their cuticles.
Yeah. Correct, but you never see that. So 1 ginger parent pure is usually good enough.
What's with the cuticles?
Yeah, there's usually a lot of dry skin.
What?
Because the skin's not in great shape. It's pretty sensitive, especially around the arms.
Yeah, my elbows are super.
You
dry.
said that with the right tone, being gentle. You were very gentle with the ginger community. As a self-loathing ginger, just said you never see gingers with other gingers because we don't think gingers are attractive. That's
not that we don't think we're attractive. It's just we just both know this would be weird.
Yeah, it's not my main focus, but it is adjacent to my general observations when it comes to teeth, hair, skin.
According to howtobearedhead.com, it is a rarity for a ginger to date another ginger because often they're stared at in public.
What? It's like too much at once.
I mean, that last line was unnecessary, but
not individually, but together.
Stared at in public?
I don't think it's a big...
Redhead bullying taught this couple to feel proud instead of embarrassed.
In Miami, I do tend to linger.
I don't think that it's a big leap from all the things, a big logic leap from all the things that we're talking about to say, based on available information, that gingers don't find other gingers attractive, or at least not attractive enough to choose a life that allows them to be stared at in public, which usually
you'll just get a lot of, oh, is that your sister? Right. Plus, they think we all look the same. That's another thing. Every day I walk somewhere hey, you look familiar. It's oh, I have red hair. You saw another redhead. Thanks. We don't all look the same.
It depends on what part of the country you're in. Because Bouchambi down here turns heads.
That is true.
He does. For Miami, I'm not saying he's an odd-looking individual. I'm saying he's an odd-looking individual for Miami.
He made the mistake of allowing me one year to buy his Halloween costume, so I took all of that and bought a giant red heart. And he will never make that mistake again because you think they were looking at him a lot under those circumstances. People listening to the show might not know that Zaz got his start with the original, the OG, the original Ginger, Boog Shambi. That is
First time I was ever allowed on a microphone.
That is where Zaz learned to ply his craft.
Local Mount Rushmore.
What a surgeon Boog Shambi was at hosting a talk show. So I wanted to get to Greg Cody's Super Bowl home experience. How did your dish go over?
It went over exceptionally well. My cioppino. People really loved it. I had someone say, "Can you make this for my birthday?" I mean, it turned out exceptionally well. I do something with my cioppino that most people don't do. I don't put fish in it. I use only mussels, clams, and shrimp.
Wow, that's unusual. I didn't know very much about cioppino, but I thought it was a fish dish.
Well, it's a combination. It's a seafood dish, but it's uncommon not to put fish in it. But I simply choose that. Even if you get a firm fish, it tends to fall apart a little bit, and I just prefer the shellfish and the shrimp. Shrimp is out of the shell, very easy to consume, and the shellfish, the clams and mussels, very easy. It falls right off.
The appreciation was where you wanted it?
Yeah, it was, because it's not a dish that normally would be served at a Super Bowl party. At a Super Bowl party, you think of chicken wings, chips and dip, salsa. This is a little more involved. You got to have a bowl. You got to have a spoon. It's super hot. But it went over very well.
So,
I was excited.
I will say it was getting rave reviews. That's why I did the move of took some to go, because just like I said earlier in the week, it's a delightful dish that I want to eat, but it's just at a Super Bowl party. I'm wheeling and dealing. I'm chips. I'm wings. I'm nachos. Like I didn't have time for a bowl.
Yeah, respectfully, if I were to walk in, you were to invite me, and I would see that, I'd be like, I'm good actually. I'm fasting today.
People were raving though, so I did bring some home. I'm gonna eat it today.
Yeah. Well, the thing about that dish though is that the next day it's still good in terms of the shellfish, but after that, like I wouldn't keep the mussels and the clams and eat it 5 days
He's
later.
insulted you by if he's going to do it 2 days later, it's not going to be as good as when you prepared it correctly. You take some indignation, some insult from the fact that I think the most offensive thing your kids do is they don't read your sports columns. But this would be a close second of not respecting the time you take to cook something.
In this case, I forgive them because there was a ton of food. Somebody made sloppy joes, and we got
sloppy joes. I haven't had that.
I love sloppy.
That's where I was at.
That's Super Bowl food right there.
I saw that come in, and I'm like, I don't have time for cioppino today.
Right. Well, even I didn't save my entire cioppino. I took out the clams and the mussels, ate them individually, and essentially just saved the broth, which also has chopped clams in it. So the broth I still have, and that'll be good in the fridge. That'll be good a week later.
Mike, you like it extra sloppy? Sorry, Dan.
Why are you guys looking, Mike? Why are you looking so askew at Greg Cody?
I'm just taking it in, listening to what the show's become.
What do you mean, listening to what the show's become? What is that supposed to mean? As if the show hasn't always been wander around Greg Cody's meandering, see what's over there, see where he's insulted.
I looked at my notes for what it felt like for 5 minutes, and I looked back up, and he was still talking about clams.
Are you not aware that you have to give on the days that he doesn't have a Back in My Day? I thought you would have learned this by now as someone who's been around the show for as long as you have. You have to give him 3 minutes to talk about the shit that he wants to talk about, or you will lose him later in the show. Have you not figured that out yet?
Well, we lost somebody.
Okay.
Mike doesn't want to learn. Doesn't want to earn.
Okay, I'm going to have to do this to myself here.
Wow.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for explaining the show.
Dad, since you mentioned gotta want to earn, gotta want to learn, why don't you update the Greg Cody catchphrases for this week? Do you remember those?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, here we go again. He doesn't remember what two he picked this week.
What number are we even on?
Dude.
We're on 40 and 39.
Write them down.
I think that was last week.
No, last week was 40, 41, and 40.
So you're going to do 40 again?
No, it's a new one. Christopher's setting me up here to embarrass me.
I'm trying to tease our podcast.
Tell me what the second one was. because I remember the first one, but the first one wasn't very good.
Just give the first one then.
No.
No.
You go ahead. Do you remember them?
This is. I was legitimately just trying to tee you up to set up the podcast.
I know, but I've done 50. I do 50 of them. I don't remember the order of every one.
But you haven't done 50 of them.
No, we've done like 11 now. And so
Greg, I just want to let you know, Mike wrote something down over here, and it's usually does notes for the show.
Right.
He wrote something down that I think you want to be careful about.
Okay.
Too much Greg.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't throw this away, though. We can turn it around. All we got to do is ignore you for a good 30 minutes. I think it'll be a nice little recalibration.
Christopher's the one who intentionally set me up to fail.
Teeing you up to tease your podcast is setting you up to fail. This
No.
is wild.
It's literally your bit. He's setting you up to do your thing.
Okay, but first of all, I only want to give one of them, and it's the second one, number 39, that I'm trying to think of, but I just can't remember it offhand.
Give the one you can think of.
No, because it's a bad one.
Well, if it's a bad one, why did it even make the list?
Give me the good one.
It's controversial. I thought it deserved to make the list. Christopher didn't, but now he can't even remember it.
What is it?
I don't remember.
Get back in there.
I just remember it was bad.
So you don't remember either of them?
Right.
This is one of the all-time, write them down.
Unbelievable. I leave you alone for 2 minutes, and you guys all forget how to do the show, and it's just badgering an old man. What do you remember?
You. Exactly.
You don't remember anything.
He doesn't remember anything.
Do you know how hard it is to arrive at a point where we're saying an hour and a half into the show, we're saying too much, Greg? I leave every show Greg does, everyone saying not enough, Greg.
Right.
Not enough, Greg.
This is a pleasant change.
Today, 80 minutes in, you guys are just asking him, what do you mean you don't remember things you did on your podcast? He's absolutely right. He's right. It's been too much, Greg, today. We ask you questions. You don't know how to promote your own podcast. You don't remember your Hall of Fame votes. I'm basically doing a show with someone in a memory loss unit.
Christopher.
Wendy Williams.
Tone.
What?
And he doesn't know why he's going to Vegas.
I know why I'm going to Vegas. I think it's for the Eagles.
Wendy Williams was put in a memory loss. I can't believe I'm laughing about this. Wendy Williams was put in a memory loss unit for alcohol-induced dementia. What do you think 12 beers a day is going to do?
It's not 12 beers a day.
You don't remember what you did on your podcast. You don't remember your catchphrases.
I don't remember. I can't give you all 11 in a row.
We're not asking for that. We're asking for the last
I've done
two.
50 to 39.
Every week, write down those two. Bring them in.
They're written down at home.
We've told you that 12 times.
I didn't
You
know
don't
you were gonna
remember
ask me.
because you should be in a memory loss unit.
We ask you every week.
I don't
Okay.
think I've ever seen Chris this disillusioned with his father.
Well, he's, his job is to remind me to bring
Dad,
in.
I'm thinking of a million things on this show. All I
Think of a
ask you to
million and
do
one.
is remember your catchphrase. That's what are we asking you to bring in
remember
here?
your catchphrases so we can promote your podcast, which is the only thing that he wants.
Okay, like the Eagles would say, take it easy, okay? Relax yourself, okay? Will that be on the catchphrase? I invented the phrase, relax yourself. No, I'm,
All right, you know what?
The catchphrases are
It's been long
1
overdue.
minute.
It had to be done.
Get out of here.
It had to be
Get
done.
out of here.
It's been long overdue.
5-minute major.
Where's the show killer sound?
Dude.
Dios mío.
Yeah. Hit him with a shocular.
We haven't done that in years.
Not in years.
Oh my
Blow the
God.
dust off that thing.
All right, let's
Show
see.
killer is back, Jack.
My God.
so proud of himself.
I could box him right now. I could box him for charity right now.
We need to bring that back, Jack.
See what I mean about what the show's become?
People think my dad is saying shocular. Shocular! Instead of show killer. That was amazing. Everything that just happened there was amazing 90 minutes into the show. Usually that's what peters out end of the day Wednesday. That's what happens toward the end. He's done it back in my day. We've gone to him, thrown him a couple of lobs, and he's tired. He doesn't have the stamina he used to.
Another crisis solved.
Get your mother on the phone so I can
I'm
ask her.
efforting.
He actually said the one cogent thing he said is that he's actually very good at admitting when he's wrong, which is absolutely in no way true. Zaslow.
That was chaotic.
Tony Baloney. I didn't forget about you either.
Now, Zaslow, so you killed David Baker.
Oh, man.
And the $50 because we're bringing back the Money Lion Fine Bucket. Money Lion has rushed to the rescue and is now sponsoring the Fine Bucket. It's been a while when Mike says, bring back the show that used to be. We used to have a fine bucket that people respected. That fine bucket used to have hundreds of dollars in it, and then somebody stole it at the Clevelanders. Somebody here amongst us. I don't know if that person is still
Inside
here.
job?
Oh, my God. It's just so bad. There were hundreds of dollars in a piggy bank filled with the fine bucket, and somebody from inside the company absolutely stole it one day. Just the cash was taken, and nobody's found out who it was. But you seem dismayed by that.
Yeah, I mean, well, dismayed about which part? Me having to pay $50, or dismayed that something got stolen?
You seem more dismayed by the fact that it was an inside job, that somebody around here stole hundreds of dollars of what was supposed to be fine money, that end up, somebody lost at the bucket, and then they went all excited to think they were going to get $500 because it was a fine bucket plus automatic death. Automatic death in the bucket was something that people craved because of the sheer amount of the amount I was being fined, because I'm the only one who pays the fines around here.
Everybody knows two things about me, all right? Number one, I don't like thieves, and number two, I will never be a cuck. Everybody knows.
Wasn't there something earlier in the show that everyone knew that was different?
These are the two things everybody knows.
But what about the other thing that you said from before that everybody knows about you?
These are the two things everybody knows.
Everybody knows that he can't go to the Sphere because he has vertigo.
There are two things everybody knows about me.
Said.
Number one,
Damn it. That's exactly how you should say vertigo.
Vertigo.
You should say it if you
I did it on
it.
purpose.
Put it on the Poll at Le Batard Show. If you have vertigo, do you say it vertigo?
Everybody knows I can't go to the Sphere because I have vertigo and that I'll never be a cuck.
The show has ruined me.
Okay, I got to go back to this because of how amazing that was.
Chunkular!
Yeah. The magic that he has is, and Mike I don't think agrees with this, but I feel it all the time. The worse that he is, the better that he is.
Really fake, Chris. I'll see you.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Dropping like flies.
That should
What
be a fine.
happened?
That should be a fine.
Is it contagious?
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, delay a show.
Tony's having a rough one. Okay, I'm gonna take myself out here prematurely because
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for explaining the show.
Earlier in the show, I did something that I never do. I tossed Tony a lob and said, "You had something for Zaz, right, Tony?" He was supposed to do the whole show today in Spanish and just forgot.
No.
That's
nice.
true.
Everybody's going to the box today. Awesome.
Okay, cool. Penalty box. Top 5 gingers in Miami sports history. Anybody?
Whoa, we're doing this?
Do we want to try to figure it out? Because I know that obviously
so it's
Chris
like Family
Cody's
Feud style?
Sports history?
Well, we could just do Miami history in general.
Mr. Red is out.
Because I was thinking in sports, you might not think of his name immediately, but for gingers, you need Eric Wagaman on that list.
Oh, God.
Marlins
If he's
1
on the
year
list,
first
I'm
baseman.
on the list.
The reason he needs to be on that list is last year after he hit a home run, and he came into the dugout, and Derek Showman, the then Marlins assistant hitting coach, said, "Attaboy, you ginger fuck." It was great.
Wow.
I'm bleeping it.
Take it easy, man.
I'm trying to think of other gingers
I'm
in
trying
South
to think
Florida
too.
sports
I'm
history.
coming up pretty empty.
Have we had any Panthers?
Bernie.
But I mean,
Bernie's a
what
ginger.
if they were terrible players down here? What could they be on the list?
Of course.
All right,
You're
well-
just looking for your top 5.
Heath Bell was ginger.
Ooh. Is Heath Bell ginger?
I think so.
Chris?
Heath Bell? No, not
No?
a peer for sure. I mean, he might have had a red beard, but I don't look at him as a peer.
Brian Campbell. Former Florida Panther,
Hey,
former
ginger.
Blackhawk.
Trevor Kidd.
Yes.
Dad, you have number
Trevor
39?
Kidd.
Now
Wow.
we're rolling.
You have
Yes, I
number,
do.
number 39 of the
Yes.
countdown.
I love him like a pet.
That's okay.
That's better than the one you didn't want to mention?
Yes.
That's the good one.
See, the way countdowns go, they get better as they get to number 1.
Okay, except you just said that number 40 was terrible, and you're doing a list of 50. So why is that number 40?
Well, 40 was controversial. It wasn't terrible. It was terrible in some eyes, such as Christopher's eyes. But I thought it was good. Just listen to the pod. You know, it's about 3/4 of the way through the pod. The beginning of the pod is inside the PFBI Super Bowl party, or rather the Super Bowl party. And
what
then
you
we
said.
get to McNugget Caviar and Pepsi Grand Theft Polar Bear and other stuff.
Incredible.
Thank you.
I love him like a pet is what my dad says
Thank you
to
very
like.
much.
But that's different than let a pet.
No. I
Yes,
love him
that
like a
is
pet
different,
is
yes.
my dad whenever he's trying to like show me and my brother love. It's like talk about it to other people. Like I love this guy like a pet.
Yes, correct. Because I love my pets.
It's also weird because their household refers to farts as pets.
Right.
Different pet.
Yeah.
This is the literal
Love him
pet.
like a fart.
No, they're not interchangeable. Love them like a pet refers
So
to
pet
real
means
pets.
pet, but pet also means fart.
Yes.
But that pet doesn't mean pet. Right.
That's
No.
correct. You've got it
Correct.
exactly right.
Right.
No, you have it correct. Get Erlene on the phone. And also, Mike is right. You're going to redeem yourself, but Mike is right. There's been too much Greg in
Right.
today's show, all right? We're going to need you to pick it up here over the
Yeah.
next couple of hours. I wanted to
We're gonna
get
pick
to
it up. You just said there's too much of me. Now you want more of me?
Dial it back.
Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Atta boy.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
back,
good job.
Jack.
Good start right there.
Small windows, no rambling. In fact, I'm just going to do this prematurely. Just
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, rambling.
I'm doing it prematurely to
That's
teach
you, player.
I was just out.
I know, but just no more rambling.
I wasn't rambling.
No, you did over the first 2 hours. Let me get to what it is that I wanted to get to here earlier that I have not gotten to because it has been really surprising to see, although I guess I'm only allowed to be so surprised, Asla. But I do think growing up in Miami, I had grown a bit immune to the idea that people speaking different languages would be something that would upset people who really like to call everybody else snowflakes. And they would run over to Kid Rock's, sideshow in white shorts because they would be so offended and want something more all-American than Spanish. And so when I say I'm surprised, like you guys all warned me this would be bad, and it's not like I haven't seen what's been going on in America over the last few years, but growing up in Miami, this is not really a thing here. It's not just for Spanish, Creole. Like when you grow up with diverse people and they become your friends and people you're always interacting with, you don't get so homogenized that you get scared of something like Spanish. And I understand what's happening in America, okay? Anytime I tell you I want you to be inclusive, you feel excluded. That's the way that transaction is working. Anytime I go to somebody and say, how about being inclusive if you're on the other side of this arguing with me? Like, no, that excludes me. I feel threatened by it, but I don't feel threatened by that. I grew up among it. What I feel threatened by is truck testicles and American flags overrunning the Capitol or gun toting. That feels threatening to me, what's happening. What Spanish in a halftime show, I'm like, really? You guys with the guns are going to get upset about Spanish? Because the most pop culture thing there is happens to be in Spanish in America, but you want your sport to be so American that you don't want to even give them 13 minutes when everyone's taking a break on your thing. Ricky Martin doesn't even get those 15 seconds. No. I want it all to be American. So then you get Sid Rosenberg, who came up here locally, and I don't even know where to start with this, but really fragile loudmouth, like really fragile. And so he's rewarded by this time in America. And so this is what's happening all over the place in reaction to this halftime show. And I guess I ought not be surprised. Obviously, I ought not be surprised. But I really do think that I've been numb to it here in Miami. So listen, this is what's happening all over the place.
It was a bad football game, and when you couple that with Bad Bunny, who may have been the worst halftime show, not one word of English, one word of English, one word. You combine the halftime show and the football game, I think Clay would agree. He's a great sports guy, too. What a waste of 3 hours.
Right. Clay, Bad Bunny, I didn't get one word. I took German with him. I took German in high school. So
I watched it with my dad. He said he's 81. He said, hey, this is the worst football game top to bottom ever. So Super Bowl. So I think he was right on that one.
Although Turning Point put together a great show.
So Bad Bunny did use some words in English. God bless America, he said in English. United States, he said in English.
Selfie, say cheese.
So there were a few words. You guys are unsurprised by this, right? I'm the naive one to see the size of the reaction because Megyn Kelly did this too, and this is her lane now. And there are plenty of people who want the right to put this under the flag, wrap themselves in the flag, and tell people who are not this homogenized. Hey, get out of here with your different languages. I do think what we should do is when these games go to Madrid, we should make all the football players speak Spanish. Good idea? When it's in Madrid, everybody, it's going to be in Madrid for several years now. The NFL wants to be global. Make all the football players do their interviews in not one word of Spanish. No, nobody's going to say sí or no. Like, it's as ridiculous, right? This is a pop culture icon at the middle of a spectacle that they had to have Colin Kaepernick go bring in Jay-Z so he can make it blacker and browner because they don't want black and brown around this stuff. Like, they've made it clear. The owners of this league, none of whom are black or brown, have made it clear that they have to be ordered by Rooney Rule and by Jay-Z to make this stuff slightly more diverse. And so the objection you get sounds a lot like this from Megyn Kelly.
I'm sorry, Piers, but to get up there and perform the whole show in Spanish is a middle finger to the rest of America. Who gives a damn that we have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States? We have 310 million who don't speak a lick of Spanish. And whether it's Bad Bunny, who is American but refuses to speak English in his performances, or anybody else, we have to keep the Super Bowl, which is a quintessential American event. Football, that kind of football, is ours. They call it American football. And the halftime show and everything around it needs to stay quintessentially American.
It was the hour she's talking about. Because it sounds like she wants to say white. Megyn Kelly was given an entire hour of the Today Show. She so desperately wanted to be accepted by mainstream America. And now she's working up more conviction over a reggaeton artist or a Latin superstar than she did around the legal age. I am so done working around the fragilities of mediocre white people when it comes to accommodating them and what they want. There are options. It's the Super Bowl. Sometimes you like the halftime show. Sometimes you don't. Every single one of these conservative talking heads have made money pointing at the other side in the 2010s saying, they don't want you to laugh anymore. They're snowflakes. They're sensitive. And every day there is some new thing that is insignificant that they are complaining about. It is exhausting.
I'm embarrassed by the way half of America has reacted to Bad Bunny singing in Spanish in a halftime show. It's ridiculous. And compounding that is that Puerto Rico happens to be a commonwealth of the United States, and they're citizens over there. They're U.S. citizens. It's part of our country. Why can't we embrace them? It's absurd. I don't understand the overreaction. And by the way, parenthetically, it's also an overreaction to say worst Super Bowl ever. 36 of 60 Super Bowls have been double-digit point spreads. 5 have been 30 or more. I covered a Super Bowl that was 55-10. 1 year ago, Philadelphia was up 34-0 before the Chiefs woke up. Bad Super Bowls are a thing. Halftime shows you don't like are a thing, but don't pin it on the fact that he's speaking Spanish. I enjoyed the music. I'm not a huge Bad Bunny fan, but I enjoyed the music, the pageantry of it, the fact that it was so Puerto Rican. I loved with the sugar cane and the coconut vendor and all that stuff. I loved it. Loved every minute of it.
Also, it's the highest viewed halftime show of all time already.
Yeah.
Right? And it's going to continue to do those numbers. But also, when Megyn Kelly says not a lick of English, what do you want them to do? Translate songs that are in Spanish to English and then rap them in English?
Yes.
Are you not proud of your game? Our game, American football. Well, Bad Bunny proved the theories right, that he would bring more audience to your game. Now, you didn't exactly put on a show. The game was crap. But it is a largely American experience. The world stops and watches this very American thing. You should be happy that Bad Bunny is bringing new audience to further indoctrinate everybody in your American thing.
And the irony is these same people who are grifting off of this now, right, by feeding into the fury, they never complain about America's pastime having so many Spanish speakers within it, right? Major League Baseball. Baseball is America's pastime. And yet there is not a league in America that has more Spanish-speaking individuals representing that game in an incredible way who are not from the United States or are from the United States. But one way or another, this grift is purely based off of, we have something we can seize on with people who are going to be angry in the moment. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, and to that point, the World Cup is in the United States this summer. The most international of sports, the most foreign speaking of all sports because it's global. Why can't people get over the fact that the U.S. is part of a world community here? You know, I blame the NFL for a lot. I give the NFL credit for its last 2 Super Bowls.
Well, it was forced on them. The Jay-Z thing was forced on them by the Kaepernick stuff. Don't give them too much credit, okay? Because they made sure that the guy who was kneeling in front of the flag wasn't in the game in the first half or second half. Jay-Z, you can have halftime. Like that's and it was forced on them.
Fair comment. I was referring to Kendrick Lamar last year, but in the case of Bad Bunny, he's an international artist. We're part of the international community. It's just absurd. And I do give Goodell credit. There was an instant uproar over Bad Bunny in halftime. He had an opportunity to make a switch, and he didn't bend. So I do give him credit for that.
Make a switch.
Biggest artist on the planet. He's right. It seems as though the NFL is like the only professional sports league that doesn't really care about Donald Trump firing off Truth Socials and complaining about stuff.
Now, they cared when Pence was at the games. Like now, look, halftime's what you get, minorities, and they don't want you to have that. Erlene is here now. Thank you, Erlene. I know you're very busy. You don't have time for all of our foolishness, but your husband said something so egregious earlier and said it with a straight face. And I said, this is what it's like to be married to him because he's stubborn. He entrenches himself on things and he thinks he's right. But he just said, and I'd like to get the number of times in your marriage that he has confirmed, provided proof for what he just said is true about himself. He just said, I easily admit when I'm wrong.
Not. That's not true.
I beg to differ.
That's not true. He'll talk himself in 14 minutes of circles just to say that he was right. But
give me the number of times in your marriage that he has immediately said, my bad, I'm sorry, I was wrong.
Oh, about something substantive, maybe 12% of the time.
There you go.
And like everyday crap, like less.
Yeah, you know, you're the same way. I mean, we're both super stubborn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We are. That's a dynamic of the marriage that works. Yin and yang.
Mom, is Sam Darnold a true ginger?
I've only seen him with his clothes on. I don't know
Whoa.
what you're talking about.
Okay.
Fair answer.
I mean,
I was more basing
Walked into that one, Chris.
Basing it off his arms, his beard, you know.
Yeah, I say yeah. Why not? Why is he not?
Oh, you're doing this thing where you let everyone in. Okay.
Erlene, who do you think is more ginger, Christopher or his brother Michael?
Well,
I think they both are equal. They just have different kinds of, you know, some of them have more, some have more hair than the other one does. So it looks more red haired. But actually, Christopher, I'd say Christopher. I'm going to go with Chris.
We're going to sell T-shirts here. Your husband said this earlier in the show. What are your thoughts on your husband saying this?
My wife always handles the wand.
Always handles the what?
My wife always handles the wand. The TV
No,
wand.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Well, that's because it's really a sad predicament we're in when I'm in charge of IT in the house because I'm lame and he's the worst.
Well, what happened? What happened on Super Bowl Sunday that he turned off the television or the kickoff was nearly missed because
he was giving a speech to the crowd about how it was all going to be and how the rules were and that we all had to be quiet during commercials, though he was saying it during a commercial. And he had the wand that controlled the thing like in his hand and he's like waving it around in circles. And then he's like, I didn't do anything. I said, well, I said, what's that thing in your hand? I may have overreacted slightly.
Another crisis solved. Yeah.
Thank you, Erlene. Good talking.
Go back
to
to
you.
work. Earn money.
Yes, that's what I do.
Coming up today on the Alley Oop, Cardi B is twerking on robots and making them pass the hell out. Utah Jazz coach, what are you doing? Also, my sister Trista has the all-time read of a lifetime. You're not going to want to miss this one.
We cut a promo twice, once on these refs and once on Giannis, the greatest scammer of a generation. Lock in.
I've admired this guy's work for a long time. He writes exceptionally well about rock music, pop culture, but really the state of society. Zaz said he's read Klosterman books.
Yeah, and I don't read.
Well, I know. That was surprising to me. The highest honor. I've seen Klosterman making the rounds here, selling the book. It's called Football, so that should sell. Of course, that's going to be New York Times bestseller. Just put football on anything and it'll sell. But if this guy's writing it, it'll also sell. And I have not read the entirety of the book, but I want to play a game with you to make this a little different, Chuck, because I know you're getting asked some of the same questions. So,
okay.
Do you mind if we play a game of What the Chuck?
Well, let's see what happens.
All right. We'll start with an easy one. Football wasn't the original title of your book. What the Chuck?
Was it true or false, or you're asking me what the original title was?
Just What the Chuck.
Yeah, we could have been better at explaining.
I think the initial title, the very first one, was Dangerous But Worth the Risk, which is also the title of a rap song. But yeah, I think that was the initial. Then I went through a few iterations. Then I went with football, had a bunch of subtitles, and then just ignored all the subtitles.
So your basketball's your sport, though, right? What the Chuck?
Well, I mean, I love basketball. I love football. I was a better basketball player, I guess. I feel like, in a sense, that it is probably a pure game in a vacuum. But if you're going to write a book about a sport in the United States, it's insane to write about anything except football. I mean, it is so much more significant, not just than its sort of rival sports, but almost of all its rival sports combined. That they're, if you're looking at things culturally, there's not really any question what to write about.
The reaction to the halftime show, What the Chuck?
Well, I knew you were going to ask me about that because I know it's been a hot topic on your show. I'm going to just be honest with you. I have a very athletic dog, and my dog needs to get walked twice a day for sure. So when there was like 10 seconds left in the first half, I immediately walked the dog. Okay. So I'm walking through the neighborhood though, and I can see through the windows of people's houses. Everybody was watching it. It seemed like a highly produced show. I got back. My wife said it was great. And then I just heard people talking about it nonstop now for 2 days.
So you didn't see it, but you're a keen observer on what's going on in society. The reaction to it being in Spanish, What the Chuck?
Somewhat unsurprising. I knew, of course, that this was going to cause issues, particularly if the game was not very entertaining and didn't give some people something else to talk about. Because every year the same thing happens. They announce who's going to play the Super Bowl halftime show. And there's all these people who say, like, why isn't it Metallica? Like, why isn't it the Black Keys? They somehow seem to work from this position that the halftime show is supposed to sort of fit in with who they imagine the demographic or the core demographic for the Super Bowl is, when, of course, it's the exact opposite. Like they're trying to find something that almost counter programs the audience for the game. So it made a ton of sense to have him do this. Now people are going to be unhappy because he's not singing in English. What is hilarious to me is that both the people who seem to hate this show and the people who seem to love this show are almost tacitly admitting they have no experience with Bad Bunny prior to this, but they've just made this decision of how they're going to feel about it. So, like, I think it's idiotic that people are upset that they had a Spanish-speaking person perform at the halftime show. I also think it is absurd that there's all these Bad Bunny defenders now who are clearly having this reaction for political reasons only. It has nothing to do with the content. I mean, it has something to do with the content because they see the content as political. But if the situation was different, most of the people reacting to this would have no response to his music.
But you also write, right, that there's a universal understanding that football is fundamentally conservatively coded, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you put, and what is interesting about the NFL is that I think one of your guys in the studio just mentioned this. They put Bad Bunny on at halftime. They have Green Day play before the show. Like this band is a punk band, very outspoken, was against, the first Bush and now sort of transferred to the second Bush. And now I've kind of transferred this toward Trump. They put him out there and people watch these things, I think with the expectation that there's going to be real conflict. That these artists are going to say something that's going to be shocking, that's going to, and then they just perform, and then everybody kind of has to triangulate a meaning from it. I mean, I would be very curious to the conversations that like Bad Bunny or Green Day has with the NFL before these performances, and like how they sort of ensure that what they're going to get is just a performance. Like, I assume that must happen. Maybe it doesn't.
Well,
maybe I'm wrong.
Kendrick Lamar, it seemed like I would not have him doing pedophilia stuff during his performance if there was going to be legislation on the freedom of the expression. Zaz, what did you think of Green Day? What did you think of the performance?
Yeah, I mean, Chuck, like Green Day, like you said, they're a punk rock band who's always been very outspoken. And even till today, like they still tour and they're super outspoken about world events. And I thought it was super lame. You're probably right. I'm sure there are mandates from the league, what to say, what not to say. And they clearly totally gave into those mandates. And they didn't say anything on the biggest stage in, the world. And I found that pretty off-putting from them.
Well, my question for you, though, would be, why do you want that? I mean, I'm not trying to be adversarial there. I'm like, why do you want Green Day to do that? Like, why do you want them to create a situation where the conversation we're having about Bad Bunny or any of these things is amplified by a level of 10? Because then there's someone who can actually be pointed to as they said this. Like, what is your reason for wanting that?
I would just want them to be them. And on that stage, they decided to veer off the course of what makes them them. And
they are punk, right?
Well, sure. But what you're saying, if being them necessitates them being political at all times, I think that's sort of a misreading of Green Day. I mean, Green Day has political ideals, but if you go to a typical Green Day show, it's not going to be wall-to-wall ideology. They're mostly just a band.
It's not Rage Against the Machine.
It's not even that. I mean, even that. If you go to a Rage Against the Machine, you know what Tom Morello believes or whatever. It probably will be directed at certain times throughout the performance. This is like when you look at Green Day's performance, what was also interesting about it is they actually sort of presented themselves slightly more conservatively or conventionally than usual. I mean, Billy Joel's hair was a normal color. He was dressed in a black leather jacket, the most kind of conventional rock outfit possible. So I think that they may have just wanted to play the Super Bowl. Like that was their thing. They didn't see this as a way to sort of forward an idea. It's like this would be a great opportunity. Yeah.
Chuck, two quick questions. Number one, who do you think would be a great halftime show for the Super Bowl to set up? It could be. And number two, why do you think football is doomed?
Okay, well, the second question is a chunk of this book that, 10,000 words. People often want me to describe it in 2 sentences. And if I could, I probably wouldn't have needed to write a book. To answer your first question, though, like who would be the ideal artist for the halftime show? Well, I mean, if football is sort of the last vestige of the monoculture, the only other aspect of that would be Taylor Swift. She's the only other part of the monoculture that still exists. I suppose the marriage of those two things would be perceived as the ultimate spectacle. That, it would be combining the two things in America that seem to be meaningful to people, even if they don't want them to be. That these kind of like these entities that are almost imposed upon them. The whole thing about football being doomed, I'm talking 2 generations from now. And of course, people are shocked by this, especially if all they hear is that idea, because it seems so counterintuitive. I mean, right now, it seems more likely that football would swallow up all the other sports. But what I see happening is that there's going to be sort of a financial catastrophe on the horizon, that football can only expand, the revenue can only go up. The NFL does not work from a position where sort of just like static neutrality can work. It's always got to get bigger. And that requires everything around it to increase in the same way. The amount that they can raise from advertising, the amount that platforms and networks are willing to pay. And I see that hitting a point probably in about 2060 or 2070 or something like that, where the amount of money required to sort of show these things at its current rate becomes impossible. And there's a work shutdown. There's either a lockout or there's a major strike. And what will be different in these 2 generations removed is that I think that the consumer will have less of a personal relationship to football than they do now. If it happened now, if there was a work shutdown now, people would lose their mind. They'd be like, what am I going to gamble on? Like, how am I going to build my weekend around you? There's no Saturday, no football on Sunday. There's no, if college football somehow disappeared, there was nothing on Saturday. But in 2 generations, I don't know if that's going to be the case, because I think it's already becoming this thing where there's been this bifurcation between the kind of person who plays and lives football and the kind of person who just watches it as sort of an entertaining distraction.
This is a heady play by Klosterman, a veteran of the industry here, where he predicts something that won't happen within his lifetime. So
exactly.
He'll never be proven, he'll never be proven wrong. And he's not actually saying that football is going to fail. He's just going to say it's going to get so big that America's not going to be equipped in its economy to be able to protect how big it gets. Like, this is authorship of the highest order, sir.
Well, it also seems like a non-controversial thing to say. Like, in 50 years, the world will be different. But this just illustrates how central football is to people's sort of lives and consciousness. That just saying that in, perhaps 50 years, this thing that's now the center of the culture will have receded to the perimeter. People are like, impossible. That can't be. You're an idiot. It's like, some of this is my own fault. I mean, because I mentioned it early in the book, and then it's kind of at the end of the book. So I think for a lot of people who consume this, they think, well, that must be what the book is about. It's just really a sliver of it. I mean, my book is about football sort of in the largest possible sort of lens across this entire spectrum of ideas. But one of those ideas is sort of its future, and I do think, like all things that large, like all hyper objects, it is doomed. Because as the world changes, the large objects are less flexible than the small ones. The bigger an institution is, the less likely or the less able it is to sort of change with how society shifts.
He's a new instant New York Times bestseller as soon as his book arrives. His book just arrived, and it's already a New York Times bestseller. It's called Football. It is available now, and I urge you to read it because he really is an exceptional author. I heard you say on Pablo Torre Finds Out the other day that Bill Simmons did real great wonders for your career in general, but the writing somehow got swallowed. People think of you as a thinker and more than a writer. It must crush you to see what's happening at the Washington Post and elsewhere. What's happening to writing?
Well, I mean, the thing that I was saying about Simmons is that, of course, it's been great for my career. When I do a podcast with Simmons, it gets as much attention as when I put a book out. But the thing that I don't love is that everybody has heard my voice now. And let's face it, I have kind of an annoying voice. Some people hear my voice and they just hate it, right?
Same.
They just fucking hate it. So I know now when people read my books, very often, they're hearing my voice. In the past, what they would have done is imagine the best version of their own voice if they like the book. Now I'm sort of forced basically to inflict myself on people so they hear it back. What's happening at the Washington Post now, it's just it's confusing in a lot of ways, because certainly someone like Jeff Bezos is not in a position where he looks at the Washington Post and he's like, it's got to make money for me to survive. Like, that's not what is happening there. It's almost as though that he has this idea of how a business he operates has to work. Like, there's no way that he's going to have a business that's not competitive with, any of his rivals, and that sort of seems to be doing meaningful work. Certainly the content of the Washington Post has not been as great over the last 2 years as it was a few years ago. There was a period very recently when I really felt the Post was better than the New York Times by quite a bit. Now, that doesn't seem to be the case now, and now certainly it's kind of fallen apart. It's very weird too, because as a sports reader, as someone who likes sports writing, that was really sort of the cornerstone of that. It's like investigative political reporting and sports journalism seem to be the two things I associate with the Washington Post. So, it's odd, but what can you do? It's also not surprising. I would doubt you'd be surprised by that.
Chuck, what's going on with this fire behind you? It's making me nervous. There's boxes right near it. Is it a depth perception thing, or is there a fire hazard behind you?
Well, no. Here's the deal. So this is like a little log cabin that came with my house. It was in the backyard. I don't know what it was for. I think the former residents maybe used it as like a playhouse. They must, but it had an actual fireplace in there. So this is where I built my office in, but I didn't want to have to start a fire every time I came out here. So that's an electronic fireplace. It's like that heats the room, but it's not actually a fire. There is no risk. Yeah.
You had us fooled, though. I think all of us would have thought that was real, and that you were going for a vibe there, not just warmth, but you were trying to give off author writing in cold weather, real fire.
Well, did you like to write by a fireplace when you were
I live in Miami.
a younger man?
I live in a fireplace. The entire city I live in is a fireplace. But it fooled me. I was fooled. I thought that was real fire behind you. You're against instant replay, right?
I am. I know I'm the last person that way, but I am. Yeah.
Why?
Well, I hate using the same joke over and over again, but it is the best illustration of this. Instant replay for officiating really sort of, to me, forces me to confront the sometimes problematic absurdity of these sports. That, I'm already watching adults making all this money play a simulation of reality for all, there's all this kind of fakeness around it. Then something happens in the game. And in order to get an objective answer to say, is it third and short or is that a first down? The amount of evidence we need is greater than the amount of evidence we need to give a guy the electric chair. Isn't that crazy that we need indisputable visual evidence for players are playing the game, but we need machines to officiate it? That's just I think that when I see the idea that we're and this is beyond the fact that particularly in basketball now is even worse, but with football as well.
No, soccer. Mike has stopped being, or not stopped being a soccer fan, but instant replay has ruined Mike's experience with soccer.
It has absolutely made the sport much worse and less of a appointment watching for me. It used to be bona fide, my favorite sport, and it's been knocked down a few pegs because I can't celebrate a goal. And we're talking about like little toenail differences. It's just terrible.
Because it's just interesting to me how the idea that a bad call by the official is not sort of part of the narrative of the game. It's just this means that the outcome isn't objectively true, but also, the other problem is that even with instant replay, yes, they more often get the correct call, but it's not 100%. Sometimes it kind of leaves you almost a worse taste in your mouth because it consumed all this time for an outcome that they couldn't change. I don't think it adds anything to the game. I think it detracts from the experience.
It adds more accurate. It adds more accurate.
Yeah. Oh, of course. It is. And I think that there's now this contingent of people who are involved with gambling, and so they see this very differently. They're like, we must have an objective outcome because if we don't, it could cost me money or whatever. I don't see it as so essential, though, that if we when I was talking about this when I was on Simmons' podcast, because of course everyone disagrees with me. It seems like a crazy thing to say in 2026 that you don't want to use technology to your advantage. But he was talking about the old Houston Oilers, Pittsburgh Steelers AFC title game back from the late 70s, early 80s, where there was a controversial call in the end zone with a wide receiver, and many people in Houston feel like that cost them the game, but the call was, the touchdown wasn't allowed. And people were like, well, see, that's great. That would never happen now. But the only reason we're talking about it this many years later is because that did happen. The mistake was part of that experience and part of that game. It's part of the history of those two franchises. Some of these things that people want to correct are like short-term remedies. Like if they really care about the idea of the sport, that is part of it. The idea that human error plays a role both for the players and for the officiating crew. I don't think we need to constantly stop the game, especially to look at these things in like a frame-by-frame basis. With basketball, it's really maddening because things will happen in the last minute of a basketball game that are then officiated in a way that they have not been officiated for the last 47 minutes or the last 39 minutes. Like the idea if you hold a basketball in your hand and someone punches it out, technically, the last thing it touches is the bottom of your finger. But at no point in the game is that possibly out on the guy holding the ball until they go to instant replay at the very end. It's really reversing the whole idea of how that play is supposed to be officiated.
Chuck, the AFC Championship game was defined by weather this year with the Broncos and Patriots, but you like the weather games in NFL.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the great things about football, one of the things I think that makes it so sort of unique and special, particularly from the other American sports, is that, baseball, it's like we'll cancel the game if it rains. Basketball is an indoor sport. Hockey is a simulation of coldness. Football is the only sport where natural elements are assumed to be part of what you're going to experience. If the game is outside, you have to factor that in. You have to build your team with the knowledge that there may be scenarios, particularly late in the year, that will contradict the way you want to play. I mean, you may have to play more of a kind of a primitive physical style. You have to have that as kind of in your bank vault of possibilities because weather is a role. It's this kind of new X factor that you can't expect, you can't anticipate. This idea that you want to play these games in these climate controlled places to get the most, again, it's a little bit like instant replay, that you're trying to take all subjectivity out of this. You want only the objective outcome. I think it's insane that they want to put a dome up in Philadelphia. I think it was a huge mistake for the Viking franchise to take away that advantage and put themselves in these domes. I think that most people who like football love weather games, and it's very strange to hear someone who doesn't.
Most people who would watch television would like that fire to be real and catch fire and you have to run out of the room. It doesn't mean that that's how you'd want to experience it. It's not a good measurement of how this is all measured, right? You put weather. The Patriots just made it to the Super Bowl, not just because Denver had a bad quarterback, because they didn't have to do anything in the second half because it was snowing too much and nobody was actually playing football anymore to get to the Super Bowl.
Nope, they were still playing football. They were playing a different kind of football where it wasn't so easy to kick a 45-yard field goal and it wasn't easy to throw the ball downfield. And you had to change things in order to make it acclimate to the conditions.
It's not the football they were playing all year when they were doing the measurements. It's not unlike your instant replay argument. They're playing a different game at the end of the season than they are at any other point during the season.
Except that we understand that we live in a place where the climate shifts. That's an understanding you have. It's no one's surprised that it's cold and possibly snowy in New England in December and January. That's part of it. Yeah.
Chuck, I don't think fans spending dearly to attend a game would agree with this, but why do you think football is best watched on TV, not in person?
Well, there are hundreds of reasons to go to a live football game, but one of them cannot be, well, I really wanted to see what happened in the game. I wanted to see the game better. Every person on television is seeing the game with more clarity than every person in the stadium, including the coaches and the players. The way football is constructed, it is impossible to have sort of a neutral sightline for the entire game. If you're sitting in the corner of the end zone, there might be situations where a play happens right in front of the pylon, and you have this unique view that only you have. It's this kind of rarefied thing where it almost seems like the game is coming right into your lap. But in almost every other situation, what is happening is what you are seeing with your eyes is then being transposed in your mind to that sort of classic view we see on television. From the midfield, pointed down, players moving horizontally across the field. Football is a mediated event even when there is no media involved. I would guess if I asked any of you right now, imagine a football game. In your mind, just imagine a football game. I would guess the majority of you would be seeing something that looks the way it looks on television. Even if you've played a football game in your life. Even if you played in high school, you're probably not reverting back to that experience. The first thing you thought of was what it looks like on TV. Because football is the one sport that is always better on television. Hockey is always better live. Football is always better on television. Every other sport is debatable, depending on the conditions and where you're sitting and all these other things. But football is made for television, and the reason it's so dominant in this country is completely married to that. Like, football starts after the Civil War, evolves in its own way, but when it intersects with the rise of television in the 1950s, that's when all this changed. That's when football becomes this thing that is different and a reflection of society as opposed to just one component.
Mike, you'll appreciate that Chuck thinks college football is better than pro football.
Yes, sports are at its best when they're most regional and tribal, and college football does that much better than any of the pro sports.
Yes, the regional quality is huge. The historical aspect is huge too, because pro sports are made to almost be completely reinvented every 8 to 10 years. If you love a pro franchise, the expectation is, especially with the way the NFL operates, is that within a 10-year span, you should be good at some point. College was always a little different. Now, this is going to change with all this NIL portal business that's obviously shifting the sport very radically. But I thought it was always extremely interesting how there was like this real diversity of thought between how teams play in the Southeast and how teams played in the Pac-12 and how teams played in the Midwest. I think it's really fun that when you're watching, Duke is playing Florida State. In a sense, you are sort of rooting against or for the person you assume who goes to that school. Like, it kind of creates a caricature of the kind of person who's part of that institution in a way that doesn't happen. Like, if you watch the Arizona Cardinals, you don't think of the Cardinals as like representing the people of Phoenix in any real way. That's just where the players got drafted. That's just like where they pay taxes. But at the college level, it is different. Plus, the game on the field is just better. It's more interesting, because the teams play more differently. Whereas in the NFL, outside of the very huge outliers, the teams are fundamentally all playing the same offense and the same defense 90% of the time.
His is a popular viewpoint on the weather. He writes in the book, the name of the book is Football. The weather, we are able basically to live in the modern world separate from the climate, and football demands us not to. Football forces us to sort of consider how that will affect not just how the game is played, but the mentality of how much respect we give these guys. The Dolphins head coach, he acts really meek in cold weather and tries to overcompensate, and it really reflects badly on him. And I don't even know if he realizes it. I guess he's fired now. But coming from North Dakota, I probably like weather more than most people. My wife would always be confused when I'd talk on the phone to my parents because we'd talk for 12 minutes and we'd talk about the weather for 5 minutes. And she's like, to her, that's what you talk about when there's nothing else going on. And I was like, not if you live on a farm in North Dakota. It's the most important thing happening at all times. Yours is the popular viewpoint here. Everybody wants to watch football players as if it's not bad enough than what they're doing for a living. Throw some rain and some just terrible below freezing temperatures.
Well, okay, this is I would like to ask you this, Deanne, because I'm not exactly sure what the answer is. On balance, is your position now anti-football more than pro-football? I can't.
He's got us.
I've watched you for a bunch of years, and I feel like I've seen a real evolution in the way you think about lots of things. And I'm wondering if now you are of the position that, even if you still have a connection to it as a guy, and if you still like watching it, would you say, on balance, it's bad for society?
Bad for society? Football?
Would society be better if football was either not part of the world, or if nothing else, a much smaller percentage of how football and culture is consumed? Like, if football was not this dominant thing, would you prefer it to be less dominant socially?
I would say my answer to that is complicated, but I'd prefer that football players be looked at and thought of as human beings first, and the sport makes it very hard on them. I enjoy the hell out of football, and I'm not against people enjoying however it is they spend their weekends gambling on football and consuming it like an addiction. But as the numbers, the place where you may have seen my opinions change on football some is with the last 20 years of advancements with the metrics. What I want and why I don't like the weather game is I want accurate measurements. I want to be able to measure who's better. I've been talking for 3 weeks about how I think the Rams are better than the Seahawks, and the 3 games they played doesn't prove to me that the Seahawks are actually better.
Well, okay, two things on this. One, it is kind of like what you just started by saying, like you want to see football players perceived differently, and football makes it very hard for that to happen. I think that the irony to that is the reason football is so much more successful than the other sports in the United States is because it does sort of downplay individualism. And like we believe that we want to see like the players have autonomy and freedom, but that's people want that for themselves. With the rest of the world, what they want is to see control. And football does reflect that. Like football is the most controlled team sport there is. The thing about the weather, like you're saying, like you were arguing that the Rams are better than the Seahawks. And what you're sort of saying is that in a vacuum, almost if this was simulated on a computer, that the value of the Rams roster is greater than the value of the Seahawks roster. And if you played this game 100 times, the Rams maybe won 63. I guess that's true. That seems to me a bit antithetical to the enjoyment of sports. Like I think one thing that I'm sometimes critical of analytics, not because they're wrong, but because I have a hard time sometimes understanding what the point of analytics is. It seems to be, to me, an attempt for people to be able to predict what's going to happen in something where we're actively hoping the outcome is unknown.
Well, I'd say understanding or closer to understanding more than prediction. Prediction is pretty impossible. But when you say this derails, the academics of it derails some of the metrics. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback I have ever seen. The only time he won a Super Bowl is when he did it through domes because nobody was affecting the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. There was no weather. There were no it's the only time he's been able to win it. And so I that's not predicting. I guess it's confirming my belief on understanding. That's the best quarterback I've ever seen. How has he only won once?
Well, but what you're arguing, though, is that the best reflection of someone is always in a situation where there's nothing impacting from the outside.
I mean,
that it's like a, and that, I mean, and that's not, I'm not saying that's insane. Certainly there's a percentage of people who agree with you, but I think that when you start thinking about the things that draw you to any kind of pastime, what you're doing is sort of eliminating some of the most interesting details for us, kind of a, I don't know, almost like an intellectual comfort that your understanding of the thing is reflected most accurately. I don't know if that's, like, to me that does not seem why football is interesting or football is important.
What feels better than being right, Chuck?
Well, maybe I don't know. Does it feel that good to be right? I guess I never am, so I don't know. Like it's an unknown thing to me. I would maybe if I was ever right about anything, I would be like, oh, this is wonderful.
This guy's on to us. Get rid of him.
The name of the book is Football. He is exceptional. Chuck, you can't be on enough. Thank you, sir, for the wisdom and the relentless curiosity. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
That was great. That was awesome. Thank God for Chuck, because he could have that conversation with Dan, and he's got the bona fides that Dan will respect him, because what he said, every single punch back that he had was so on the money. I was rooting for Chuck in that interview.
Somebody should do a long-form podcast with him. Oh, that's been done already.
But that was great. And, like, he just convinced me of things. Like, I used to be Team Dome, and then I realized, like, everybody's just going to be so reliant on their apps and detached that I think 20 years from now, we're going to be waxing poetic and nostalgic about, like, you remember the snow games? You remember how the Raiders went into Foxborough and no one knew what the tuck rule was and how great that was? It gives things character, and I think we're going to be longing for that before long.
Jarrett Stidham threw the ball backwards. Remember Jarrett Stidham?
Tony, you've had an ugly show today.
But what? Hold on a second.
What I want, you're not
An
the only
ugly
one.
show.
You're not the only one.
It was one time.
What I want you to do is I want you to go to an ugly place in Miami and do your top 5 from a symbolically ugly place that symbolizes the performance that you have had today. Go there now. I'm also going to get rid of Jeremy. And he was doing, parody songs yesterday. He was loving the parody songs in the commercials. So, Jeremy, I would like for our newest sponsor here, Money Lion on the Fine Bucket. I want for you to do a commercial song for Money Lion. Leave the room and see if you can do that.
Genre suggestions, pop punk.
I'm not. We're not going to turn this into
Metallica,
a piano bar.
80s ballad.
I'm not going to.
Timberlake.
You could just go and you figure it out. And Tony, you go as well. And we're going to try and clean up a variety of things that we've got going on around here. That was some strong Green Day commentary you had, Zaslow, that Klosterman is saying, well, do you need your punk band to be punk all the time? Because I'm guessing your punk band's not going to be allowed to play the Super Bowl if your punk band is too punk.
I think I do need my punk rock band to be punk rock all the time because that's literally what being punk rock is. And I felt it was embarrassing for Green Day that they've talked a big game throughout their tour, and for years, like Chuck said, going back to George Bush. And now you got the biggest stage you've ever had. And they clearly followed a mandate from the NFL. Punk rock ain't following mandates.
Okay, but by that reckoning, Bad Bunny at the Grammys said ice out. He didn't say any of that at the Super Bowl halftime show. Do you look down on Bad Bunny for not using that stage?
Maybe I don't know enough about Bad Bunny.
I think that's the case because Bad Bunny's been very outspoken.
This is one of the most gangster things that the people in power of the NFL have done. They not only nuked the idea of you're going to be unsportsmanlike on the field, and it's totally normal for us to see, a defensive back for the Seahawks, Reek Woolen, trash talk a sideline and on a huge call get a penalty. They've scrubbed that out of it. And if you want to play in their halftime show, it is such a privilege and such a blessing. You will do it for free and you will shut up. Like, that's the rules. Like, yeah, Bad Bunny, the most controversy you're going to give us is you're going to say the correct things in Spanish. You're not going to say anything that offends any of the people running this sport because you decide to make too much of a political statement. You're going to have to try and hide it in your art the way that Prince did by going all phallic during a halftime show.
And maybe this is giving him too much credit. Maybe he's just saying, all right, that's what it takes to play the Super Bowl. It's great for my career. It's great exposure. But it is meta type of thinking in that you're going to become this national talking point. You're going to become overly politicized. In the end, you're going to give your performance that is relatively non-offensive, right? And people are just going to have to make things up. And at the end of it, they're just going to say what's at the heart of it the whole time. You're not speaking English. You're dunking on them with the biggest halftime show of all time. Everyone's showing their ass that had any sort of criticism. They're just going back to you're not speaking English. You absolutely won the day, and you won the day by following the rules.
I would just, back to the Green Day part, like, Dan, I would equate it to you. Like, if you got to sit down with an interview subject and you were, because of the high profile that this subject is, you're going to have as big an audience you've ever had. But you were told there are a couple things that you are not allowed to ask. I'm fairly certain you're not going to do the interview. Or you're going to still ask the things.
Well, that's how I would try to do it, but we've been cast aside from where
that's why no one comes on this show.
The mainstream exists because of that. There are costs.
We had Tyler Shuck as our big guest.
There are costs to that freedom in wherever it is that you make
Bane
those
is punk
partnerships.
rock, though.
Well, but is Green Day, just given how popular they are, like, I know Iggy Pop is punk as well, but once you become so popular, are you even still punk?
That's where I think Chuck was wrong. Green Day at almost every show you go to, these still to this day, it's not wall to wall like he said, but
they're saying something.
They are saying stuff.
They're saying something. I've seen them twice recently.
Yeah, but you don't get to do this if you're going to do that. That's not allowed.
I'm with you. I'm not. I think it's a weird criticism to have. Like they're playing people know what Green Day stands for. Some people are rediscovering their catalog.
Some people everyone knows what Green Day stands for?
I think people are watching that performance, realizing that it was non-offensive, and then they're going to their catalog as they do. This is quantifiable. Anybody that plays on the Super Bowl gets a boost. And then, joke's on them, they're listening to their catalog and being like, oh, man, this stuff resonates politically today.
If you do what Bad Bunny does for a living, your biggest possible stage is the Super Bowl. Your second biggest might be the Grammy Awards. So when he says ice out at the Grammy Awards, everybody in the world knows how he feels politically.
Oh, but not.
I don't think he needs to say it again.
The Grammys
at the Super Bowl.
The Grammys is not nearly this, Greg. Not nearly this.
I understand that,
but nothing is near this.
I know, but nothing is close to this, and so look. I understand how it is somebody would want their punk rock band to be punk rock all the time and do something artfully there. It's prohibited. Like, that place is about rules. And you just heard Klosterman give eloquence to, we like that. We like that everyone's under control. We like that Jerry Jones isn't letting them kneel. Like, it's part of why it's so popular. They've got governance over all of that while, one owner quietly leaves his giant statue outside the stadium because he's getting alleged foot rubs that he's not supposed to get. And let's not talk about Jerry Richardson. And another one's in the Epstein files, allegedly. And don't look at any of that. We've got control.